In this topic, human reproduction. First of all, we will discuss how an organism can be reproduced. First of all, how an organism can produce offsprings or new organisms. What are the events required to produce an offspring or a new organism? We will discuss here. To produce an offspring, every sexually reproducing organism will to produce an offspring, every sexually reproducing organism require a sequential events which are called as reproductive events. To produce an organism or to produce an offspring, every sexually reproducing organism require some sequential events which are known as reproductive events. So first of all, we'll discuss what are the important reproductive events required to produce an offspring by human being. How a human will produce an offspring through these sequential events which are known as reproductive events. Once again, I am repeating, to produce an offspring, human being required a sequential events which are known as reproductive events. To produce an offspring, human being required a sequential events which are known as reproductive events. What are the events required to produce an offspring by human being? That we will discuss first. So in this reproductive events, which is the first step to produce an organism. In this reproductive events, the first one is gametogenesis. Gametogenesis. Once again, I am repeating, to produce an offspring, human being required some sequential events. That events are known as reproductive events. In this sequential events, the first step is gametogenesis. In last class, I gave you what is gametogenesis. Gametogenesis is the process of production of male and female gametes. The male gametes are spermatozoa and the female gametes are ova. The process of production of these gametes by the male and female parent is gametogenesis. In this process, the male gametogenesis is known as spermatogenesis and female gametogenesis is oogenesis. So the first step in the reproductive events is gametogenesis. Once again, listen, what is gametogenesis? The process of production of male and female gametes. The process of production of male and female gametes is known as gametogenesis. In this gametogenesis, there are two types of gametes produced by human being. The male gametes are spermatozoa and the female gametes are ova. The production of spermatozoa is called as spermatogenesis and the production of ova is called as oogenesis. So that is the first step. After the production of gametes, what will happen? After production of gametes, these gametes have to meet and the gametes have to fuse with each other. That is called fertilization. But how gametes will meet each other? For that, a process is required. Normally, we are also there is the population. During the process of population, the male and female will physically interact with each other. During this process, the male human being will releases the spermatozoa along with the seminal plasma, which are collectively called as semen. So, after production of gametes by male and female human, then what will happen? These gametes have to meet For that, there is a physical process. That physical process is known as copulation. During this copulation, the male ejaculates the semen into female reproductive tract, which is known as insemination. The second step here is insemination. The first one is gametogenesis, that is the production of gametes. After completion of this gamete production, to meet the gametes with each other, there is a physical association or physical interaction or there is intercourse between male and female. That is actually known as copulation. After completion of copulation, then during this copulation, the male will ejaculates or releases the semen into female genital tract, which is known as insemination. After insemination, what will happen? Now the spermatozoa is released into female genital tract. This spermatozoa contains all sorry, the semen contains spermatozoa. The spermatozoa will reach the ovum and it start fusing with the ovum. That is known as fertilization. The third sequential event required to produce an organism is fertilization. The first one is gametogenesis. It is followed by insemination, and after that, the fusion of male and female gametes takes place. That is known as fertilization. After fertilization, what will happen? There will be formation of a diploid cell, that is a zygote, which will undergo repeated mitotic fusions called cleavages. Already I gave you in last class. After this cleavages, the unicellular zygote will be modified into multicellular embryos. In these various stages are there in embryos. Already I told you. First there is the morula stage, which contains 8 to 32 cells, which is followed by blastula. Immediately in human being, it will turn into blastocyst. This blastocyst travel along the length of fallopian tubes of the female reproductive system, and that will enter into the uterus. The innermost layer in the wall of uterus is endometrium, and that will attach to the endometrium, which is known as implantation. So, after fertilization, what will happen? Formation of zygote and blastocyst will take place. Formation of zygote, and blastocyst, formation of zygote and blastocyst takes place there. That you have to remember. Formation of zygote is one of the important thing, and it is followed by formation of zygote, and formation of blastocyst. After formation of this blastocyst, what will happen is, after formation of blastocyst, this blastocyst will travel along the length of fallopian tubes of the female reproductive system, and that will reach to the uterus. And in the uterus, the innermost layer is endometrium. This blastocyst will attach to the endometrium of the uterus. That is known as implantation. So, after formation of zygote, that zygote will undergo repeated mitotic fusions, which are known as cleavages. This cleavages converts unicellular zygote into multicellular embryonic stages. In that, the first stage is 8 to 32 cell stage, that is known as morula. Morula will followed by blastula. Blastula will immediately converts into blastocyst. In human being, we cannot notice particularly. Okay, the blastocyst will reach to the uterus and it will attach to the endometrium of the uterus. In this endometrium of the uterus, it will attaches, and that is known as one second. Okay. What is implantation? You are all aware. Implantation is the process of attachment of blastocyst to the inner wall of uterus, that is the endometrium. Okay. Implantation, the process of attachment of blastocyst to the endometrium of the uterus is known as that is known as implantation. Okay. That implantation, you should remember, it is very important. Already I told you what is implantation. All of you write down that definition. And after completion of implantation, what will happen? There will be formation of the complete embryo, which process is known as embryogenesis. Embryogenesis. There will be complete formation of embryos, that is embryogenesis. Embryogenesis will take place. After implantation, there will be many changes in the embryos, and finally a complete embryo will be formed, that is embryogenesis. During this process, there is a formation of gastrula, which is known as gastrulation. During this gastrulation process, there will be, one second, some disturbance is there. Okay. After this embryogenesis, there is formation of embryo. During this process, there is formation of gastrula. In this gastrula, there are three assemblies will form. We will discuss about all that three assemblies later. Just remember embryogenesis here. Okay. And after completion of embryogenesis, what will happen? To complete the entire development of embryo and to modify fetus, and finally to become a completely mature fetus and to deliver, it will require a particular time period. That period is known as gestation period, which is commonly known as pregnancy period. Gestation or pregnancy. Okay. Embryogenesis is followed by gestation, which is known as pregnancy period. This gestation period differs from animal to animal. Okay. In human being, usually you are around that it is about 270 days, but it is not exact 270 days. It is plus or minus 1 week, that is 7 days. Plus or minus 7 days, there is a gestation period. For every animal, different gestation periods are there. After completion of gestation period, there will be expelling out of this fully formed fetus from the uterus of the mother, the reaction of different hormones, that is pregnant, that is parturition. Parturition. After completion of gestation period, there is expelling out of fetus from the uterus of mother, that is the parturition. And in human being, you all know that human is a mammalian. Mammalians can nourish their baby with the help of a fluid secreted the mammary gland, which is known as milk. So that process is called as lactation. That is lactation. So observe carefully here. What are the reproductive events takes place to produce an offspring by human being? It starts with gametogenesis and ends with the lactation. So gametogenesis is the process of production of male and female gametes. After production of this male and female gametes, the gametes have to meet with each other, fuse with each other. For that, a physical interaction or intercourse is required between male and female, that is known as copulation. After copulation, during copulation, the male human will release the spermatozoa along with the fluid, that is the seminal plasma, into the female genital tract. Then the fusion of gametes takes place in the fallopian tubes of the female human being, that is the fertilization. After fertilization, there will be formation of a diploid cell, which is known as zygote. It undergoes repeated mitotic divisions, which are known as cleavages. This cleavages converts unicellular zygote into multicellular embryo, and finally that leads to formation of blastocyst. This blastocyst travel along the length of fallopian tubes and enters into the uterus. In the uterus, it will attach to the innermost wall of the uterus, that is implantation. So, the process of attachment of blastocyst to the inner wall of the uterus, that is endometrium, that is known as implantation, that we should remember. After implantation, the gastrulation will begin, which will causes the formation of three germ layers: ectoderm, endoderm, and mesoderm. And after that, organogenesis will be begin, and finally the complete embryo will form. This is embryogenesis. To complete embryonic development, this embryos required a particular time period, which is known as gestation period or pregnancy period. At the ending or at the time of completion of gestation period, by the hormone reactions, the fetus will be expelled out or pushed out from the uterus to the exterior. That is a parturition or commonly we are as a delivery. And human is a mammalian. You are all aware. Mammalian has a unique character, that is nourishment of the babies with the help of a fluid which is secreted to the mammary gland, that is commonly known as milk. So that process is called lactation. So this is the sequential events required to produce an offspring by the human being. Once you should remember is the sequence is must. So the first one is gametogenesis, followed by insemination, followed by fertilization. After that, formation of zygote and blastocyst that leads to implantation. After implantation, embryogenesis will take place. After completion of embryogenesis, time period is required to complete embryonic development, that is the pregnancy period or gestation period. And after completion of that, there is expelling out of baby or expelling out of fetus, that is actually parturition. After completion of parturition, lactation will begin. So one thing you should remember, all these reproductive events will take place only after a particular age, which is known as puberty. So, in human being, all reproductive events will begin after puberty. Puberty means it is just an age when a male or female will get a sexual maturity to produce the gametes. Spermatozoa in male and ova in female. A particular age when it will begin, that is after puberty. The puberty is different in male and female. In female, the age of puberty is usually 10 to 12 years. After 10 to 12 years of age only, the female human being will start producing gametes. And after this, in male, it is 12 to 14 years. 12 to 14 years. In female, the puberty is, the age of puberty is 10 to 12 years. At this age, the female will start producing the gametes. Okay. So all these reproductive events take place only after puberty. Before puberty, there will be no chances. So that we should remember. So puberty in female 10 to 12 years, puberty in male 12 to 14 years. That you should keep in your mind. After this age only, all the reproductive events will begin. Before this, there is no chances for any reproductive events. That you should keep in your mind. What is the age of puberty in female? 10 to 12 years. What is the puberty? Puberty is puberty is an age when the male and female will get sexual maturity to start all the reproductive events. In male, it is 12 to 14 years. In female, it is 10 to 12 years. After this age only, the male and female will start their reproductive events. Okay? So that is about the reproductive events. One thing you should remember here in the reproductive events, The first one is gametogenesis. The first one in the reproductive events is gametogenesis. In this gametogenesis, the male gametogenesis is the male gametogenesis is the male gametogenesis is spermatogenesis, and the female gametogenesis is oogenesis. Already I told you. Once you should observe here the gametogenesis in the reproductive events. Almost all reproductive events are similar in male and female, but observe here the male gametogenesis, that is the spermatogenesis, and the female gametogenesis is oogenesis. You are all on it. The production of male gametes is spermatogenesis. Production of female gametes is oogenesis. So here in the spermatogenesis and oogenesis, what is the main difference here? That is the important thing you have to keep in your mind. Male human being can able to produce a spermatozoa throughout the life. Throughout the life, male can able to produce the sperm. Throughout the life, male can produce. Even in old days also, the male human being can able to produce the spermatozoa. So spermatogenesis is a continuous process until the death of the person. Spermatogenesis will continue. But whereas in female, the oogenesis will stop at a particular age, around 50 years. This oogenesis will completely stop. That is called menopause. Menopause takes place only menopause. Okay. Welcome students. Once again, sorry for the inconvenience. Just I think you can recall what we discussed before. Just observe here. In human reproduction, what are the sequential events required to produce an offspring? We discussed. Human reproductive events starts with gametogenesis and ends with the lactation. Here, first, the process of production of gametes takes place at the age of puberty. In female, the age of puberty is 10 to 12 years. In the male, the age of puberty is 12 to 14 years. After this is only the gametogenesis and all other reproductive events will begin. Okay, and this gametogenesis will followed by insemination, and that leads to fertilization, formation of zygote and blastocyst. That leads to implantation and embryogenesis, gestation, parturition, and finally the lactation, which is required for the nourishing of baby. Okay, so these are the reproductive events required in human being to produce an offspring. Okay, that you should remember. This sequence is very important. They will give in examination all the sequences, and they will ask you arrange them from starting to ending or ending to starting. So first gametogenesis, fertilization, formation of zygote and blastocyst, implantation, embryogenesis, gestation, parturition, and lactation. These events you should keep in your mind. Okay. And after that, here if you observe gametogenesis, the male gametogenesis is spermatogenesis, the female gametogenesis is oogenesis. In these two, what is the main difference? That we have to remember. Here, spermatogenesis in male takes place throughout the life. From puberty to the ending of life, the male can be able to produce the gametes. Male can produce the gametes throughout the life, But female cannot produce the ova throughout the life. Around the age of 50 years, the gametogenesis in female will be complete. That will be completely stopped. So that is called menopause. What is menopause? Pause means stop. Meno means menstrual. So menopause means stopping, or it is the termination of a menstrual cycle, which leads to complete ceasing or cessation of production of ova. So menopause very important. What is menopause? Menopause means the termination or cessation of menstrual cycle. Termination or cessation of menstrual cycle. That is the menopause. After menopause, the female cannot able to produce the ova. So from puberty to menopause only, female can produce the ova, but male can produce the spermatozoa throughout the life. One thing you should remember in female, at the age of around 50 years, the production of ova will be completely stopped in the female. That is known as menopause. It is the last menstruation. The last menstruation in the female is known as menopause. The last menstruation in the female is known as menopause. The first menstruation at the age of puberty, when the female reaches maturity, there is a first menstruation which is known as menarche. Very important, these two terms. Menarche. Menarche is the first menstruation. For the first time, at the age of the beginning of puberty, the female will get the first menstruation, that is the menarche, and the last menstruation is menopause. So the oogenesis in female takes place in between menarche and menopause only. After menopause, there will be no chances for the production of ova. That you should keep in your mind. So here two important events I am giving you in female human being. One is menarche, another one is menopause. What is menarche? Remember, menarche is the first menstruation in the female human being. The first menstruation in the female is menarche, and the last menstruation is menopause. The female can produce the ova in between these two periods. In between menarche and menopause, in every menstrual cycle means a time period of 28 to 30 days, female can produce one ova. But during the pregnancy, this ovulation will temporarily stop. So this is the reproductive events you have to keep in your mind first. So these all events required to produce an offspring by human being. Okay, the main difference between male and female in reproductive events is gametogenesis. Male will produce the spermatozoa throughout the life, but female will produce the ova up to an age of 50 years, which is known as menopause. But all these reproductive events will begin only after puberty. Up to puberty, there is no chances for any reproductive event. So this sequence and this terminology you have to remember once. Once again, we will discuss about all this in detail at the time of discussing on that particular topic. Okay, that is the information you have to remember here. And after this, we will start the human reproductive system. What are the structures present in human reproductive system? You know, human is a viviparous, sexually dimorphic, dioecious. Dioecious means there are two forms, male and female. Sexually dimorphic. Sexes are completely separated as a male and female. But you know, the first animals, poriferans, no? In that poriferans, there is no separation of sexes. We know that as a hermaphrodites. Hermaphrodite means both the sexes, male and female sexes are present in a same animal, but whereas in higher group of animals, especially in the case of mammalians, in human being, the male and female characters, the male and female sexes are completely separated. So a well-noticed sexual dimorphism is present in human being. These are the viviparous animals. These are the continuous breeders. There is no seasonal breeding in this animal. Throughout the year, this animal, that is human being, can able to reproduce. So that you have to remember. First of all, we will discuss about the human reproductive system. In that, first we will discuss about the male reproductive system. After that, we will go for female reproductive system. First, we will discuss about the male reproductive system. Male reproductive system. Remember, male reproductive system. First of all, I am going to give you what are the various parts or various structures present in the male reproductive system. In male reproductive system, first of all, there are primary sex organs, primary sex organs, which are also known as gonads. Primary sex organs or gonads are present. Primary sex organs or gonads are present, and secondary sex organs. Secondary sex organs, which are also known as the accessory organs. Accessory sex organs. Accessory sex organs. In these secondary sex organs or accessory sex organs, there are two types again. Number one is accessory ducts. Accessory ducts. Number two is accessory glands. Accessory glands. So, secondary sex organs or accessory sex organs in human being are two types: accessory ducts and accessory glands. At last, there is external genitalia. External genitalia. External genitalia. These are the externally visible reproductive organs which are involved in the copulation. So, male reproductive system has three important structures. The first one is primary sex organs or gonads. The second one is secondary sex organs or accessory sex organs. It is of two types: accessory ducts and accessory glands. And the third one is external genitalia. These are externally visible organs which are useful for copulation or which are useful for intercourse between male and female. Okay, that we should remember this. Okay. Now we have to know what is definition for a primary sex organ and what is a secondary sex organ. What is external genitalia? First of all, I'll give you what is the primary sex organ. Primary sex organ. Remember here, primary sex organs are also known as gonads. Primary sex organs are also known as gonads. So in that, gonads are primary sex organs. Gonads are primary sex organs. Okay. Primary sex organs or gonads, the organs which are involved in the production of gametes and reproductive hormones are primary sex organs or gonads. Remember, what is primary sex organ? What is primary sex organ? What is the importance of this? What is the function of this? Just remember, primary sex organs or gonads means the organs which are involved in the production of gametes and the reproductive hormones. The organs which are involved in the production of gametes and also reproductive hormones are primary sex organs. What are the primary sex organs in human being that we have to remember? What are the primary sex organs? Here of testes is the primary sex organs in male human being. Remember, what are the primary sex organs in male human being? Here, a pair of testes. So, male reproductive system has a pair of testes. I'm writing here, just follow that. Primary sex organs in human being is a pair of testes. A pair of testes are the primary sex organs or gonads. What is the definition for this gonad or primary sex organ? The reproductive organs which are involved in the production of gametes and reproductive hormones. The organs, the reproductive organs which are involved in the production of gametes and reproductive hormones are primary sex organs. And what are secondary sex organs? The reproductive organs which helps in the transport of gametes, storage of gametes, nourishment of gametes are secondary sex organs. In secondary sex organs, listen once. What is a secondary sex organ or accessory sex organ? The reproductive organs which are involved. The reproductive organs which are involved in the transport of gametes, storage of gametes, and the nourishment of gametes are secondary sex organs. The secondary sex organs are the reproductive organs which helps in transport of gametes, storage of gametes, and nourishment of gametes. Okay, that are secondary sex organs or accessory sex organs. In human male, there are two types of these secondary sex organs. One is accessory ducts and one is accessory glands. What are accessory ducts and what are accessory glands? Also, you have to remember. The accessory ducts in male helps mainly in the transport and the storage of spermatozoa. That is the main function of these accessory ducts. The accessory ducts helps in the transport and storage of this spermatozoa. But what about accessory glands? The accessory glands helps in nourishment of spermatozoa, and also that will maintain a required pH in the female genital tract for the survival of spermatozoa. So observe here, the accessory ducts are mainly for the transport and storage of spermatozoa, but accessory glands are for nourishment and also for the protection or maintenance of a particular pH in the female genital tract, which is essential for the survival of spermatozoa in the female genital tract. Okay, that we have to remember. And the external genitalia in male human being. Already I told you, the external genitalia in male human being includes two important structures. One is scrotum, another one is penis. Scrotum and penis. Scrotum and penis. Scrotum and penis are the two externally visible organs of human reproductive system. In this, the scrotum helps in the accommodating the testes, and the penis helps in the copulation, which is required for the insemination. Okay, this is a brief structures of male reproductive system. Once again, all of you observe. Male reproductive system contains three important parts. One is the primary sex organs, second one is secondary sex organs or accessory sex organs, and the third one is external genitalia. Which are the primary sex organs in human male? In male human being, a pair of testes are the structures which helps in the production of gametes. So primary reproductive organ or gonad means the reproductive organs which helps in the production of gametes and the production of reproductive hormones. Production of gametes and reproductive hormones are primary sex organs. A pair of testes are present in a male human being for this purpose. And after that, secondary sex organs. This cannot involve in the production of gametes or reproductive hormones, but these are essential for the transport of gametes and storage of gametes, and also nourishment of gametes. These are of two types in male human being: accessory ducts and accessory glands. You know what is the duct? A small vessel-like structure, a short vessel-like structure. That means these accessory ducts are useful for the transport of spermatozoa and also for the storage of spermatozoa. Accessory glands are mainly for the secretion of fluids which are essential for the nourishment of spermatozoa and also for the maintenance of required alkaline pH in the female genital tract, which is essential for the survival of spermatozoa. So that you should keep in your mind. So that is about male reproductive system. Here, what are the accessory ducts present? What are the accessory glands present? Also, we have to know. So now I am writing what are the accessory ducts in male? See, primary sex organs are a pair of testes. Now, what are the accessory ducts present in male reproductive system? Accessory ducts in male reproductive system. Accessory ducts. Here is the first one is, see, this accessory ducts mainly useful for the transport and storage. See here, rete testis, and the second is vasa afferentia, the second one is vasa afferentia, and the third one here is epididymis, and this is followed by vas deferens, the first one, rete testis, vasa afferentia, epididymis, vas deferens, and ejaculatory duct, and urethra are the accessory ducts. What are the accessory ducts in male reproductive system? The accessory ducts here is, the first one is rete testis, the second is vasa afferentia. It is followed by epididymis and vas deferens, ejaculatory duct, and urethra. So this is a sequence through which the spermatozoa will be transported in the male reproductive system. Very important sequence you should keep in your mind. So first, testes. Inside the testes there are seminiferous tubules. That seminiferous tubules are the structural and functional units of testes where the spermatogenesis takes place. Okay. So seminiferous tubules are present in the testes. That seminiferous tubules are the sites of production of gametes, that is spermatozoa. Seminiferous tubules opens into rete testis. Rete testis opens into vasa afferentia. Vasa afferentia opens into epididymis. Epididymis opens into vas deferens. Vas deferens opens into ejaculatory duct, and ejaculatory duct will opens into urethra. Urethra will opens out through urethral meatus. So from the testis, how the spermatozoa will come out? That is the importance of this accessory ducts. To come out the spermatozoa from the testis, a sequence of ducts is required. That sequence of ducts are accessory ducts. What are the names of the ducts in the human male? So first, rete testis, vasa afferentia, epididymis, vas deferens, ejaculatory duct, and urethra. So that you should keep in your mind. The sequence is must. The sequence you have to follow. So sequence is must for all competitive exams. They will ask many times this sequence. So what is that sequence? Just observe. Here, rete testis, vasa afferentia, epididymis, vas deferens, ejaculatory duct, and urethra are the accessory ducts in human male reproductive system. Okay, just write down that. Remember that sequence. We will discuss about all that and their respective locations, respective functions later. Just remember the sequence and names. So the accessory ducts in male reproductive system are rete testis, vasa afferentia, epididymis, vas deferens, ejaculatory duct, urethra. These are the important accessory ducts. These are the sequence of accessory ducts that you should keep in mind. Next, after completion of accessory ducts, what are the accessory glands present here? Is it complete? Tetatestis, vasa efferentia, epididymis, vas deferens, ejaculatory duct, and urethra are the accessory ducts. Now, accessory glands. There are three types of glands present in the human male reproductive system. Three types of glands. What are the accessory glands? See here in accessory glands, a pair of seminal vesicles, a pair of seminal vesicles, a pair of seminal vesicles, a single prostate gland, a pair of seminal vesicles, one prostate gland, and a pair of bulbourethral glands. A pair of bulbourethral glands. So these are the glands which are associated with the male reproductive system in human being, that are a pair of seminal vesicles, one prostate gland, a pair of bulbourethral glands, which are also called as Cowper's glands. Bulbourethral glands are also known as Cowper's glands. So these are the three types of glands associated with human reproductive system. And one more thing you have to remember here: what is the main function of this gland? This gland secretes some alkaline secretions which are essential for the nourishment of spermatozoa, and also this will maintain a particular alkaline pH in the female reproductive tract, which is essential for the survival of spermatozoa. That we have to remember. Okay. So the accessory glands are three types: a pair of seminal vesicles, one prostate gland, a pair of bulbourethral glands or Cowper's glands. This secretes some alkaline fluids. That alkaline fluids are essential for the nourishment of spermatozoa, and also that will maintain a required alkaline pH in the female genital tract, which is essential for the survival of spermatozoa in the female genital tract. Okay, that you have to remember. So now it is clear what are the structures present in the male reproductive system of human being. See here, the primary sex organs or gonads in male reproductive system are a pair of testes. A pair of testes are the primary sex organs or gonads. These are the structures which are involved in the production of gametes and also secretion of reproductive hormones. What is the primary sex organ or gonad? The reproductive organs which are involved in production of gametes and secretion of reproductive hormones are called as primary sex organs or gonads. In male human being, one pair of testes act as a primary sex organs, and one of the secondary sex organs are accessory sex organs. The reproductive organs which are involved in the transport of gametes, storage of gametes, nourishment of gametes, and also protection of gametes at the acidic pHs, that are secondary sex organs or accessory sex organs. In male human being, there are two accessory structures associated with the reproductive system. One is accessory ducts, another one is accessory glands. The accessory ducts are mainly useful for the transport and storage of spermatozoa, that is the gametes. What are the accessory ducts? Already I gave you. There is the tetatestis, vasa efferentia, epididymis, vas deferens, ejaculatory duct, and urethra. Through this sequence only, the spermatozoa will come out from the testis to exterior. Testis to exterior, how the spermatozoa, what is the sequence required to come out the spermatozoa from the site of production to exterior? That is first the tetatestis, it is followed by vas efferentia, that leads to epididymis, that leads to vas difference, and that will open to saturated gut will open to urethra. Urethra opens out through urethral meatus or male genital pore. Already you know urethra is a common passage for both the systems. One is urinary system, that is the excretory system, and another one is the reproductive system. So urethra is a common opening for both the reproductive system and the urinary system, that is excretory system. Okay, because of that only urethra is known as urinogenital tract. Urethra is known as urinogenital tract. In first year I gave you very clearly. Remember, urethra is a common passage for the transport of spermatozoa along with the seminal plasma, that is semen, and from excretory system, it is a tract for the removing of urine. So it is common passage for the transport of urine and semen. So it is called as urinogenital tract. Urinogenital tract. That you should remember. Urinogenital tract. Okay. So now we have to discuss about all the structures in detail, their anatomy and physiology, their complete internal structures and external structures. Along with that, their respective functions we have to discuss. Okay, just remember what are the structures present. I think it is very clear. There are primary sex organs, secondary sex organs. Okay. After that, external genitalia, I told you. What is the role of this external genitalia in the reproduction? External genitalia are the externally visible organs of the reproductive system. These organs mainly useful for the copulation, and also that will provide a surface or that will accommodate primary reproductive organs in male reproductive system. Scrotum, it is a dark pigmented pouch-like pouch-like skin which is useful to accommodate testes outside the abdomen. We will discuss that at the time of discussing about the primary sex organs. And after that, there is a copulatory organ, male copulatory organ, penis. Okay, that also you should remember. Now, it is better to draw the diagram of male reproductive system. Now, the diagrammatic representation of male reproductive system. All of you practice this. Draw the diagram. I will draw. You will just follow the diagram. Observe how to draw. I'll mention all the parts in the diagram. After that, we will discuss about all this primary, secondary sex organs and external genitalia in detail. How to draw this reproductive system, male reproductive system? The diagrammatic representation of male reproductive system. It is very, very important for your PUC exams for 5 marks. See, there are all that the male reproductive system is located in the pelvic region, that is below abdomen. Male reproductive system is located in the pelvic region, that means it is located below the abdomen. For example, if you see, if it is abdominal cavity, it is abdominal cavity. Below the abdominal cavity, the testes and the other reproductive structures are located, that you have to keep. And here, just above this, inside this, there is a urinary bladder. Urinary bladder. So first it is abdominal cavity, it is a urinary bladder. This urinary bladder may receives urine from kidneys through ureters. Through ureters, it receives urine. Urinary bladder receives urine from the kidneys through the ureters. So there are two ureters. Okay, it is urinary bladder, it is abdominal cavity. These two are the ureters. And after that, I have to draw here urethra. It is urethra. It is the external opening of urethra, which is known as urethral meatus or male genital pore. Urethral meatus or male genital pore. And after completion of that, is it clear up to this? First abdominal cavity, and inside that there is a urinary bladder, two ureters, and it is urethra. At last there is a opening, it is the urethral meatus. Urethral meatus, which is also known as urethral orifice. Okay. Urethral meatus or urethral orifice. Next, observe here. From here, if you observe carefully from here, there is a vertical tissue like this vertical tissue, and it extends like a bulb here or a swollen structure. So draw up to this. Okay. After completion of this, just one more thing you have to remember here. After completion of one more muscle, you will draw here like this, two muscles, and here these have supporting structures like this. Draw up to this. It is a penis, the structure of penis, just like down here, and on either side of this, there is on either side of this, there is a structure. A pair of testes are located on either side of this. It is one, and it is the other. There are a pair of oval-shaped testes are located. A pair of oval-shaped testes are located on either side. And inside these testes, what is the structures present? Already I told you. There are inside this, once again. Thank you. Harsha, all brother. Okay. See, drop this, and after that, how this internal structure of testis is created. See, I will give you all the details later. Just remember, divide this testis internally like this compartments. Divide these testes inside like this compartments, and after that, inside this, there are structures like this, coiled structures. They are like this. It is actually internal structure of testes. We will discuss that later. First, we will draw the diagram. Like this, draw this. One side it is completely closed, another side it is open. These are actually seminiferous tubules. What are these? These are seminiferous tubules. Seminiferous tubules. Seminiferous tubules. These seminiferous tubules are the structural and functional units of testes, because these are the sites of production of spermatozoa. Where exactly the spermatozoa will produce inside the testes, that is the seminiferous tubules. In these seminiferous tubules, the spermatozoa will be produced. So these are known as structural and functional units of testes. Structural and functional units of testes. And these seminiferous tubules will open into many minute vertical tubules like this. Minute vertical tubules. These minute vertical tubules are known as rete testis. I told you in accessory types, which is the first accessory type, that is rete testis. Rete testis. So the spermatozoa which are produced inside the testis, inside the seminiferous tubules, will enter into rete testis. Rete testis receives spermatozoa from the seminiferous tubules, right? And from this rete testis, there is arising of 10 to 12 vasa afferentia. What are these structures? Vasa afferentia. Observe here. This is vasa afferentia. Vasa afferentia. That is what? That is vasa afferentia. Vasa afferentia will open into highly coiled structure. Here also, it opens into a highly coiled structure like this. It runs towards the posterior. It runs towards the posterior direction, and it is highly coiled there, like this. Highly coiled structure. This highly coiled tubular structure is called as epididymis. Epididymis. So, vasa afferentia opens into epididymis. Epididymis move posterior, and they are highly coiled at posterior. This is a epididymis. 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 So observe again. These two are the testes, which are oval structures. These are the gonads or primary sex organs. Internally, testes is divided into compartments. In each testis, actually 250 compartments are there that are known as testicular lobules. We'll discuss that at the time of discussing the structure of testes. Inside this, there is 1 to 3 highly coiled Seminiferous tubules are present. These are the structural and functional units of testes because these are the sites of production of male gametes at the spermatozoa. This seminiferous tubules opens into vertical tubular network, that is rete testis. Rete testis opens into 10 to 12 minute tubules that are vasa efferentia. Vasa efferentia opens into epididymis. Now this epididymis will opens into a structure which will enters into abdominal cavity and cross this ureters as well as etheric bladder and it will ascends into the abdominal cavity. So the structure is vas deferens or vasa differentia. This is actually vas deferens. Vas deferens or vasa differentia. Vas deferens or vasa differentia. Vas deferens or vasa differentia. So observe carefully. I am drawing all accessory ducts here. Rete testis, vas efferentia, epididymis, vasa deferens. This is the vas deferens or vasa differentia. Right? Now, from both sides, there are two vas deferens ranges. Like this, two vas deferens from both sides, from two testes. It is internal structure. There I didn't give internal structure. It is actually from outside testes. But here, it is a vertical section of testes. In vertical section of testes, it will appear like this, and it is the external view of testes. Okay. So now vas deferens. After vas deferens, what will happen? I gave you accessory glands. There are three types of accessory glands. Observe here, it is the first type of accessory gland, that is seminal vesicle. How many seminal vesicles are there? There are a pair of seminal vesicles are there. A pair of seminal vesicles. So here, this is one and this is one. A pair of seminal vesicles are present. In this pair of seminal vesicles, what happens? See here, this is the duct of seminal vesicle, it is the vasa differentia. Duct of seminal vesicle, vasa differentia. Now, the duct of seminal vesicle fuses with vasa differentia. The duct of seminal vesicle fuses with vasa differentia and that leads to formation of ejaculatory duct. See here, this one and this one is fused. This is vas deferens, this is the duct of vas efferentia. Both are fused and form here ejaculatory duct. How ejaculatory duct will form? By the fusion of vas deferens with the duct of seminal vesicles, there is formation of ejaculatory. Here one and here also an ejaculatory. Now both ejaculatory ducts are fused and form a common ejaculatory duct. Common ejaculatory duct. This common ejaculatory duct will opens into urethra. Here urethra is there, no? Urethra. Okay. This urethra will opens out through urethral meatus or urethral orifice or main genital pore. So now the spermatozoa will release this out. So then how it will come out? How it will release this to? For that there is a passage. This passage contains different type of ducts, all together known as accessory ducts. So here, seminiferous tubules produces the spermatozoa. This seminiferous tubules opens into rete testis. Rete testis. Rete testis opens into vasa efferentia. Vasa efferentia. Vasa efferentia opens into epididymis. We will discuss about the structure and function of all these later this sequence. Epididymis. This epididymis will opens into vas deferens. Vas deferens. This vas deferens will ascend into the abdominal cavity and fuses with the duct of seminal vesicle and form ejaculatory duct. Here it is actually ejaculatory duct. ejaculatory duct. That is ejaculatory duct. Ejaculatory duct will opens into urethra. Urethra. So observe carefully here. Primary reproductive organs or primary sex organs are gonads that are a pair of testes. A pair of testes. Human reproductive system is located in pelvic region. You know, pelvic region means the region below the abdominal cavity. So this entire structure is located below the pelvic region. And here observe carefully a pair of testes. This pair of testes are the primary sex organs or gonads. These are function of to transport and storage this spermatozoa. There are accessory ducts which are actually accessory ducts in reproductive system are testes, vasa efferentia, epididymis, vas deferens, ejaculatory duct, and urethra. This urethra will urethral orifice or urethral meatus. What about accessory glands? Already I drawn here. One is these two are the seminal vesicles. I told you already a pair of seminal vesicles are there. That pair of seminal vesicles. Which are that pair of seminal vesicles here? A pair of seminal vesicles are. A pair of seminal vesicles are located here. Observe that. We will discuss about that later. And remaining two type of glands also there. What are the remaining two? I told you one prostate gland is there. Observe here, this is a prostate. How many prostate glands are there? A single prostate gland. This is a prostate gland. These are seminal vesicles. Seminal vesicles, and it is a prostate gland. It is a prostate gland. Seminal vesicles, prostate gland. And after that, one more pair of glands also I gave you, that are the small bulb-like glands located on either side of this urethra, that are bulbourethral glands. So small bulb-like glands here, bulbourethral glands. So what are they? There are small bulbourethral glands are Cowper's glands. Cowper's glands. Bulbourethral glands or Cowper's glands. Bulbourethral or Cowper's glands. So now the primary sex organs, secondary sex organs are completed. Primary sex organs in this diagrammatic representation, observe here a pair of testes. The secondary sex organs or accessory sex organs are two types, accessory ducts and accessory glands, which are accessory ducts here. The accessory ducts there are a pair of accessory ducts are retestes, vasa efferentia, epididymis, vas deferens, ejaculatory duct, urethra are the accessory ducts. What about accessory glands here? There are three types of accessory glands: a pair of seminal vesicles, a pair of bulbourethral or Cowper's glands, and one large prostate gland. Okay. So primary and secondary structures are completed, and after that, external genitalia. External genitalia. What is that? External genitalia here. External genitalia. I told you, scrotum and penis are the external genitalia. What are the external genitalia? See here. What is the importance of scrotum and see, observe here the scrotum and penis are the external genitalia. Observe here penis. You know, penis is a copulatory organ. Here it is made up of two types of long tissues. I will give you that later at the time of discussing about the structure of penis. And here observe carefully A large bulb-like posterior end is known as glans penis. This is the penis. In this penis, a large swollen or bulb-like structure. This is the glans penis. Just remember the name, glans penis. The posterior bulb-like structure which is present in the penis is glans penis, and it is a penicillin. In the labeling, you have to remember all these things. And here, urinary bladder already is the ureter. Ureter, and this is the urinary bladder. So at least for 5 marks, at least you have to write 8 important parts. Just remember this diagram. That is the diagrammatic representation. Still, we didn't start exact structures and all. Just remember this. Just remember what are the parts present in the male reproductive system along with this diagrammatic representation. It is the diagrammatic representation of male reproductive system, which is very important for 5 marks. For diagram, 1 mark. For labeling, 4 marks. You have to keep that in your mind. At least 8 important parts you have to write. Okay. Once again, just recall what we discussed today. In this class, we discussed reproductive events in human being and male reproductive system. Just a brief view about the male reproductive system we discussed. See, what are reproductive events? The sequential events which are required to produce an offspring by a sexually reproducing organism is called as reproductive events. What are the reproductive events takes place in a sequence to produce an offspring in human being? See, first reproductive event in human being is gametogenesis. After completion of gametogenesis, there is insemination. You know, gametogenesis is the process of production of male and female gametes. The process of production of male gametes, that is spermatozoa, is known as spermatogenesis. The process of production of female gametes, that is ova, okay, oogenesis. Already I told you there is a difference in between male and female in the process of gametogenesis. In male, spermatozoa cannot take place over the life. Gametogenesis will begin only after puberty. Puberty is the age period when the reproductive organs get sexual maturity in male and female. In female, the age of puberty is 10 to 12 years, whereas in male it is 12 to 14 years. After that, only gametogenesis will begin in a normal healthy human being. And after that, in gametogenesis, in female, the first gametogenesis or the first menstruation is known as menarche, and the last menstruation is menopause. Menopause usually takes place around the age of 50 years. Okay, after 50 years, after menopause, the female cannot able to produce the ova. Why female cannot able to produce the ova, and how male can produce spermatozoa throughout the life? What is the difference in this? That we will discuss at the time of discussing about the process of spermatogenesis and oogenesis. I will give you that concept at the time of discussing about the spermatogenesis and oogenesis. And after completion of gametogenesis, the next requirement is the fusion of gametes. To fuse the gametes, first gametes have to meet. To meet that, first copulation is required. Copulation is required. Whenever there is a copulation, during this copulation, male human being inseminates into female genital tract. Then the spermatozoa will reach the ova and start fusing with the ovum. That is fertilization. So, gametogenesis is followed by insemination. Insemination is followed by fertilization. After fertilization, there is formation of a diploid cell, that is a zygote. This zygote will undergo repeated mitotic divisions, which are known as cleavages. That cleavages will convert unicellular zygote into multicellular embryo. And this embryonic stages, first morula will form, after that blastula, which will immediately convert into blastocyst. That blastocyst travels from the length of fallopian tubes of female reproductive system and enters into the uterus. In the uterus, that will attach to the inner layer of wall of uterus, that is endometrium. So the attachment of blastocyst to the inner wall of uterus is known as implantation. Okay. after completion of implantation, there is embryogenesis will begin. Various modifications done in the embryo. Okay, it is mainly because of gastrulation and organogenesis. And after completion of the gestation period, after completion of gestation period, parturition will then, at last, lactation will begin. Mammalian solely is the character of the mammalians. So that are the reproductive events in a sequence. Gametogenesis. Remember this sequence: gametogenesis. After that, insemination. After that, fertilization, implantation, embryogenesis. Embryogenesis will be followed by gestation and parturition. Finally, lactation will take place. That is the reproductive events discussed. And after completion of reproductive events, already I told you all reproductive events take place only after puberty. Okay, and after that, human being is a sexually dimorphic organism. Here, male and female sexes are completely separated. First, we will discuss about male reproductive system. In male human being, the reproductive system is located in the pelvic region. Pelvic region means below the abdominal region. The reproductive system contains three important structures. One is primary sex organs or gonads. The second is secondary sex organs or accessory sex organs. And the third is external genitalia. Primary sex organs are the organs which will produce the gametes and reproductive hormones. Once again, listen. Gonad means, or primary sex organ means the organ which will produce the gametes and secretes the reproductive hormones. In male human being, a pair of testes act as a gonad. These are the sites of production of spermatozoa and reproductive hormones. And secondary sex organs cannot involve in the production of gametes and secretion of reproductive hormones, but that are essential for the transport, storage, and also nourishment of spermatozoa gametes. Okay? So that we have to keep in mind. What are the secondary sex organs in the human reproductive system, in male reproductive system? Male reproductive system, the secondary sex organs are of two types: accessory ducts and accessory glands. What are the accessory ducts here? See, accessory ducts are not involved in the production of gametes, but that are essential for the transport, storage, nourishment, and also maintenance of required pH in the fecal tract for the survival of spermatozoa. So, the accessory ducts in male reproductive system are retestes, vasa efferentia, epididymis, vas deferens, ejaculatory duct, and urethra. Okay, this is the passage required for the transport of spermatozoa from the site of production. That is seminiferous tubules of the testes, where the spermatozoa will produce inside the testes. Seminiferous tubules. Seminiferous tubules are the structural and functional unit of testes because these are the sites of production of spermatozoa. Okay. And after that, accessory glands. There are three types of accessory glands in male reproductive system. One is a pair of seminal vesicles, a pair of bulbovegetal glands or corpus glands, and one prostate gland. These secretes some fluids which are required for the nourishment of spermatozoa, and also that will maintain a required alkaline pH in the female genital tract, which makes the survival of spermatozoa inside the female genital tract. And the external genitalia in male reproductive system is a penis and also scrotum. This scrotum is a dark pigmented pouch-like skin where the testes are located. We are all know that in the human being, testes are located outside the abdominal cavity in a pouch-like structure. That small pouch-like structure is scrotum. We will discuss about the structure of scrotum and the structure of testes and all later. If you observe here carefully, it is abdominal cavity. From the abdominal cavity, a small pouch-like structure is hanging. It is actually what? It is actually scrotum. Inside each scrotum, one testis is located. Okay, inside each So we will discuss about the importance of scrotum, why testes are located inside the scrotum, and structure of this testis and the scrotum and all later. Just remember, scrotum is one externally visible organ, and another externally visible organ is penis. This penis is copulatory organ, male copulatory organ. With the help of this, it is actually the erectile structure. It is actually erectable structure. During the sexual intercourse, the penis is useful for the copulation, which will lead to insemination. Okay, so the organs which are externally visible and that helps in the accommodating the primary sex organs and also helps in the copulation are external genitalia. This is a brief information about the male reproductive system. In next class, we'll discuss about In next class, we will discuss about primary reproductive organs, structure of secondary reproductive organs, and structures of external genitalia. After that, we will discuss the physiology, that is the function, how testes will produce the spermatozoa and also reproductive hormones, and all other information we will discuss in next class. Thank you.